Okay, well, this guy, we call him Crazy. Well, lots of people call him Crazy. When he was a young boy, he really wanted to be an artist. Like, when I was really young, like, I wanted to be an artist as well. And he kept on trying to draw nicely and those stuff. And when he was 18, he failed so hardcore, so he just changed his dream when he was 23. And later, he is one of the most famous people in history, who is now remembered as a German lunatic, crazy, this mental guy, Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler, yeah. And he was born in just like a typical German, well, Austrian family. He was born in 1889 in Braunau am Inn. Well, yeah, Braunau am Inn. And yeah, he was born in a normal, like, he's not a really rich but not a really poor kind of family in Austria. And when he was staying in Austria, he only sang only the German national anthem, which is called Deutschland über alle, and he did not sing the Austrian anthem while he was in Austria, and he's an Austrian, but you know. And later, when he was when he was 18, he moved to Germany. Well, moved to Vienna, the capital of Austria, to try out his skills as an artist. There's this test thing, I'm not sure, but you do it to become a real artist, and he failed twice. So from then on, he started to hate drawing, and but he had to draw to live, because at the time his parents weren't supporting Hitler, so he had to live by his own money he earns. So until 23, he lived in Vienna with his friend in a slum house, this really old, dirty kind of apartment kind of styled house, and it's like a pension, yeah. And they didn't eat that much. They couldn't eat that much because they didn't earn much money. They earned their money by just selling their paintings, but they weren't good at drawing as well, so nobody really bought them. And when he was 23 in 1913, he was determined to become something else rather than an artist. He decided to become a person that can change the world. And a year later, in 1914, World War I breaks out, and he joins the German army when he's Austrian. Oh, and by the way, in 1913, when he was 23, he moves to Germany. So he joins the German army. Well, they didn't really care if he was Austrian at the time, because Austria and Germany is quite close. They have a close relationship. So Hitler fought on Germany's side. Well, Germany was allied with Austria, so it's kind of like a one side. So, but Germany lost the First World War, and after it was the depression and the inflation, all those stuff happened in Germany after the First World War. And because of that, it was very hard to earn money in Germany and Austria-Hungary at the time. But Adolf Hitler, because he fought so bravely, lots of officers and other high-ranked generals, they were keep looking at Hitler and trying to help him after the war. So he had this order to look around these parties, political parties in Germany, and he had an opportunity to join one of them, and he joined the German Workers' Party, which is called Labour Party New Zealand. Yeah, so he joins the Labour Party after the First World War, which is after 1918, yeah. And because of his brilliant speaking skills and talking skills, and he was very convincing, what he said, everybody would go whoa, it's true, well, Hitler's so great, and yeah, he's just saying all these stuff that's saying, he's just saying these stuff Germany is a great country. German people are the greatest people in the world, and that makes German people very happy. So at least one of those statements go in every single Hitler's speech, and lots of German people liked it. Hitler was a very nationalistic man, which means he is like, one of those people who like really love their country and like really like when they're talking, like even though it's out of topic, they just talk about their country and how their country is so great. Yeah, so Hitler was one of them, except Germany isn't his country, but yeah, he's still. And because of his talking skills and other skills he had, he later becomes the leader of that party. And he becomes really famous in Germany, and his party has lots of people going in it, and lots of politicians, and lots of people like him, and he spreads out his power by, getting support of the citizens, just German citizens, and he also tries to get the military's reliance. So the German military believes Hitler and all this stuff, and he meets many other capitalists and other CEOs, I could say, of the banks and all the important industries. So rich people, or strong people, I don't know, some politicians, prime minister, and stuff like that. And yeah, he just meets lots of people. And he starts a coup d'etat, which coup d'etat is kind of like overthrowing the government, which means I'm not the prime minister or the president, but I try to become the ruler of the country by using force. So he uses his army to, start a coup d'etat, and on the day, he captures all the politicians, the German politicians, and he locks them in the jail, but he sets them out free because they said, oh, we support Hitler's party, the Nazi party, the German Workers' Party. And the next day, when they got out of the jail, they got the Germany's army to kill all of Hitler's army, and yeah, Hitler fails. And Hitler gets jailed for 5 years, but because, well, lots of people liked him at the time, like lots of German citizens, and I heard I found out that lots of German citizens also wrote letters to the jail, asking them to free Hitler. He had lots of those letters, and yeah, set free in 9 months. So after 9 months, yeah, he was set free. Also, he wrote this book called Mein Kampf, which means My Struggle, and when he was in the jail, which is just saying how if he was president, he would do this and that, and it's just his plans. If I was the king of Germany or emperor of Germany, I'll do this and that. And yeah, it just had those stuff in it. And after when he came out, he made a secret police as well as his own army. So he made a secret police. Yeah, it's just like an army except it's secret. And yeah, he starts to get more stronger and stronger, and appealing to citizens, going hey, look, we'll give you bread and money and lots of stuff. And everyone's oh, really? Whoa, bread and money, wow. And they just vote Hitler. And he later becomes the chancellor, which is second highest of the country, I could say simply. So prime minister. If we say president is first and prime minister second, he's prime minister at the time. In 1933. And he also says stuff what was it? Oh, Communist Party. There was another party called Communist Party, which was also quite strong as well. He said bad stuff about them, and he made this plot, and this guy from Netherlands set fire to the parliament building and said it was a communist guy, and lots of people started hating the Communist Party. And then in 1933, he made up this law, and that law was it just said that Hitler can change laws whenever he wants to. So if he makes up this little rule I get $100,000 each day, then he can do that, because he is the law of the country, but he's still not the highest. He's not the highest. And in 1934, when the highest guy called Führer, or called Hindenburg, the actual place is called Führer. When he dies in 1934, he becomes the Führer, which is like an emperor. He has power over everything, like every single thing. He has the power over the media. Like, for example, if they had Facebook, you're not allowed to do Facebook anymore, and no emails, no computers, I think, if they had computers. Yeah, so he like blocked and like limited the media and freedom of the media and the publications of books and radios and stuff. And a Nazi party was the only party. He made it like that, of course, because he's a Nazi party. And in 1935, there was this thing called League of Nations, which is just like UN of right now, but Germany like got out of the League of Nations, and then in 1935 it declared rearmament. After the First World War, Germany lost very badly, and they had this deal saying Germany must not make any more armies or navies or planes, so they can't attack back. But Hitler just ignored it and just made heaps and heaps and heaps and heaps of really good tanks. Germans were very good at making tanks, and they made these cool tactics, and they made these cool guns, and I don't know, cool machines and cool, airplanes and stuff. But they weren't that good. And they armed the whole Germany by like they sent armies to borderlines and those stuff. And in 1937, Germany has a deal. Hitler has a deal with Japan and Italy, saying like we're allies, so we don't attack each other, and we help each other if there's something happening to one of the countries. And in 1938, Germany started invading areas. Well, first of all, he invaded this place called Czechoslovakia. It's a small place, but because he said to the USA representatives and like the British representatives saying, there's like most of the people living there is German people, so we should have this place. And they just went like, okay, it's not really a big deal. And they invaded, and they fused Austria-Hungary to Germany, because Austria-Hungary, they're all same kind of people. So it's just going like, for example, Korea. Like Korea is a small country, and like it's just going up going to America and saying, oh look, Japan and China's gonna fuse with Korea because they're all Asians living in there. And that's exactly what just Hitler did. Because they're just the same type of people, like same race, they just fused countries. And then in 1939, I'll just tell you that Germany and Russia hated each other. Like if they see, like if a Russian and a German meets together, they'll try to kill each other. Really? Yeah, only politicians, like normal citizens won't really do that, but they really hated each other, the countries, and they said bad stuff about each other's race, like saying like, oh, those like bloody Russians are stupid, and like the Russians go, oh, those bloody Germans are stupid, and they'll just say all those stuff. But in 1939, they have a pact, just like Japan and Italy, saying we won't attack each other, we'll be friends together. And Germany invades France and Belgium and all those places, and he totally invades all of them. He invades all of Europe except Italy, Spain, Portugal, Russia, and all those other places. Well, Spain and those Portugal and Italy and Turkey, they're all on Germany's side. Like they had an agreement, and also Russia's on Germany's side. And only country left resisting against Germany is Britain. So, and it's called Battle of Britain. Hitler tries to invade Britain with over 2,000 planes, but he loses. 2,000 planes, and he still loses. So that's a fail. And Well, after that, Germany started to lose. Like Hitler made a stupid